A forensic scientist uses principles of chemistry, biology, and math through a variety of techniques to analyze physical evidence associated with crimes. Duties vary depending on the material to be analyzed and may include the analysis and identification of blood, hair, fibers, chemicals, bullets, and fingerprints. Work often involves laboratory analysis using scientific methods. Requirements for the job: a bachelor's degree in chemistry, biology, or forensic science. Some forensic scientists are even trained as police officers. Extensive on-the-job training is also necessary. A forensic scientist can be a biologist, a toxicologist, a chemist, or a pathologist. Each plays an important role and is responsible for the analysis of different types of evidence. The salary of a forensic scientist can vary from as low as $28,000 per year for a scientist with a 4-year college degree up to as much as $500,000 per year for a scientist that is a licensed medical doctor. A typical workday includes visiting crime scenes, collecting and preserving evidence, photographing or reconstructing crime scenes, examining and analyzing evidence, meeting with other experts to discuss and interpret evidence, writing and presenting reports and summaries of findings, and testifying as an expert witness in trials or the possibility of arson. The work of a forensic scientist is not routine or glamorous. It often involves gruesome crime scenes, horrific injuries, and dead bodies. But it's important work that's necessary to analyze trace evidence to solve crimes and put criminals behind bars.
Pathologists are indispensable to the operation of our medical system. But who are they and what do they actually do? Dr. David Ranson is a forensic pathologist for the Victorian Institute of Forensic Medicine.
Forensic pathology is the work that's done to provide pathological science and medical pathology information to the courts. I carried out an autopsy. Now that includes helping police, it includes helping coroners, it includes helping the criminal courts and sometimes the civil courts in resolving critical medical issues, largely based around individuals who've died. Forensic pathology is not really like CSI. TV shows that deal with forensic medical issues or forensic science issues usually have to condense what's really done for an audience in an hour or so. And so what happens is they have one actor who will actually be doing the work of the forensic pathologist and the forensic ballistic expert and a bit of forensic toxicology, whereas in the real world these are separate people. So forensic pathologist, I focus on the autopsy itself, I focus on the examination of the deceased person, and I focus on trying to find out what the cause of death is and what that death cause means for the community. I think it's very important to realise that forensic pathologists don't just work with the dead. In particular, they work with the living, the families and the loved ones of those who've died. Many families actually want to meet the person who last had physical contact with their loved one. In the vast majority of the work we do is looking for patterns and trends in causes of death to enable us to identify hazards in the community that can be prevented in the future. We provide that information to a coroner, and the coroner can then evaluate that death together with other deaths and come to perhaps recommendations that might be put in place to prevent such deaths in the future. You could say that today part of the role of a forensic pathologist is to be a public health specialist.
Photography. Forensic photographers have a pretty important job as they have to document the crime scene and all the physical evidence as a permanent record for the courts. There are three main elements that a forensic photographer must capture in each crime scene: a reference object, the scale, and lastly, the subject. Number 11. Crime scene reconstruction. These are performed by crime scene reconstructionists in order to figure out what exactly happened at the scene and in what order by using deductive and inductive reasoning along with the physical evidence presented and the scientific method. Becoming a crime scene reconstructionist is no easy task, as those who wish to enter the profession must have at least 5 years experience in the crime scene reconstruction field and at least 120 hours of professional training with coursework in multiple areas. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, as there's plenty of tests and publications needed to become certified.
Although fiction is often a far cry from real life, the profession of forensic chemist isn't any the less exciting. When an event is deemed suspicious or criminal and an investigation is launched, a forensic chemist is called in. Forensic chemists will sometimes visit the crime scene or the morgue, but most of the time, their work is carried out in a laboratory. In analyzing evidence recovered from a crime scene, whether establishing the cause of a fire or explosion, or checking for the presence of substances like alcohol or drugs in the blood, forensic chemists provide the scientific evidence needed to understand the cause and circumstances of an incident. For example, following a suspicious death, the role of the toxicological chemist begins when they are given biological samples. Together with the laboratory technicians, they carry out analyses. They have to find the best analytical strategy needed to try and detect the presence of substances such as drugs and medicines or poisons. Both the samples and the instruments must be handled with care and precision. Chemists need scientific expertise and an ability to synthesize information in order to identify links between the details of the case and the effects of the substances found. Once the analyses have been confirmed, chemists summarize their findings and prepare an expert report. Despite the emotions a case may trigger, chemists must remain impartial when presenting their expert opinion because in judicial proceedings, their rigorous documentation could serve as evidence in a court of law. In this way, chemists serve the interests of justice and contribute to helping protect and ensure the well-being.
For Ed Love, loading a gun for work isn't unusual. But Love isn't a police officer, and this isn't your normal shooting range. Love is a firearms expert for the Bexar County Forensic Science Center, usually fishing for information about ammunition and guns.
We also do a lot of crime scene comparison work and looking at cartridge cases from one scene or bullets from one scene, comparing to bullets or cartridge cases from another.
Most of the time, he and his colleagues are taking aim at criminals through a microscope, looking for clues in the different grooves and ridges left after a bullet is fired.
Each one will leave its own particular mark, and in each case, you're able to identify a specific bullet to a specific firearm.
Another tool in this crime lab, a new computer system which can match bullets from any crime scene in the state to other crime scenes. A huge task when you consider all the different types of bullets and guns. But examiners say once they find a match, they're 100% certain it's accurate.
For us, it's very exact. When we say that this bullet was fired from this particular gun, we're saying that that bullet was fired from that gun to the exclusion of all others. And it's a matter of putting it all together so that a jury can understand it and understand what the facts are in the case.
Because in most cases, what they find in this crime lab is just one piece of a puzzle that will eventually end up in a courtroom. Christina Huey, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
The Forensic Biology Unit examines evidence recovered from crime scenes for potential biological matter. They identify biological fluids then take swabs or cuttings from the evidence and process them for analysis. Cases that test positive in the forensic biology unit go on to forensic DNA analysis. The goal of the DNA unit is to develop DNA profiles from items of evidence and compare them to known DNA profiles from crime investigations. Evidence is examined from many types of cases, including homicides, sexual assaults, robberies, aggravated assaults, kidnapping, and property crimes like burglaries and theft from a motor vehicle. Cold cases are also examined, including homicides and sexual assaults dating back to the 1960s. Work in the forensic biology unit begins with a visual examination of evidence for staining. Biologists take samples of potential stains to test for the presence of blood, semen, saliva, or cellular material. Hairs can also be tested if they contain roots suitable for DNA analysis. Stains not visible to the naked eye can be located with an alternative light source. Some body fluids fluoresce under this blue light, making it a useful tool for finding stains that aren't visible using natural light.
Books and TV programs make the work of forensic science technicians seem fast-paced and exciting. In real life, however, their job is more likely to be as slow and painstaking as it is important. Forensic science technicians work at the scene of a crime and in laboratories. They perform tests on weapons, or they examine substances such as fiber, hair, and tissue to determine a connection to the crime and to a suspect. Some forensic science technicians specialize in particular areas such as fingerprinting, DNA and handwriting analysis, biochemistry, or ballistics. They prepare reports to document their findings and the laboratory techniques used. While much of their expertise and deductive abilities come from experience, forensic science technicians are usually college graduates, having taken courses in subjects ranging from criminology to biology. Forensic science technicians are a crucial part of our legal system. They might be called upon to testify as expert witnesses. Their evidence and testimony can help send the guilty to prison or clear the innocent.